everyone, this is Pritikona Odhikari from Asian International School, and today we will be starting with the chapter The Sentence. First, we need to understand what is a sentence. We often use words to express our thoughts and feelings. These words are arranged in groups. Some of these groups make complete sense. So it can be said that a group of words that makes complete sense is called a sentence. Now, few important things that we have to keep in mind are: number one, our sentence begins with a capital letter. Now, if we see these three examples, you will see that these sentences begins with a capital letter. Point number two, the words in a sentence must be written in a proper order to make sense. Now, if I say, Hill Station has fine India, does this make sense? No. But if I arrange these same words in this way, India has fine hill stations. Yes, now it is making sense. So, a sentence must be written in a proper order. Number three, a sentence usually ends with a full stop. Very important point. Number four, some sentences end with a question mark and with an exclamation mark. If you look at these three sentences, how beautiful the sunset scene was. India has fine hill stations. Have you taken your dinner? You will see that in the first sentence I have used an exclamation mark because it is an exclamatory sentence. In the second sentence I have used a full stop because it is an assertive sentence, and in the third sentence I have used a question mark because it is an interrogative sentence. Now we move on to phrases and clauses. Phrases and clauses helps to form a sentence. Now, let us first understand what is a phrase. A group of words that makes sense but not complete sense is called a phrase. If you look at these examples, number one, of great importance, number two, made of gold, number three, to go home, you will see that these group of words are making sense but not complete sense. That is, these are not complete sentences. Now, if we add or join few more words with these phrases, then these phrases will turn into complete sentences. So, let us see now. Number one, Swami Vivekananda's teachings are of great importance. Number two, this ring is made of gold. Number three, I want to go home. So, now you see how by joining few more words we can turn a phrase into a complete sentence. Now, we move on to clauses. What is a clause? A group of words that form part of a sentence and has a subject and a predicate of its own is called a clause. Example, number one, the umbrella which has a broken handle is mine. Here, which has a broken handle, this clause describes the umbrella and it acts as an adjective clause. Next example, the stolen property was found where the dacoits were accustomed to hide. Here we see that the dacoits acts as an subject and were accustomed to hide acts as a predicate and total clause acts as an adverb clause. Now we move on to kinds of sentences. Sentences are of four kinds. First, assertive or declarative sentence. Second, interrogative sentence. Third, imperative sentence. And fourth, exclamatory sentence. We move on to assertive sentence. A sentence that states or declares something is called an assertive or declarative sentence. That means when we state or declare any fact, it is called an assertive or declarative sentence. Example, my brother Somnath liked the film Three Idiots very much. Here I am declaring or asserting the fact that my brother liked the movie Three Idiots very much. In the second sentence, I did not like it at all. Here I am asserting or declaring the fact that I did not like the movie at all. Please remember, an assertive sentence ends with a full stop. An assertive sentence can be either affirmative or negative. I'll discuss the difference between an affirmative sentence and a negative sentence. An affirmative sentence affirms rather than negates a proposition, whereas a negative sentence always negates a proposition. It contains words such as not, no, never, neither, nor, etc. in it. Always remember that when we change an affirmative sentence into a negative sentence, we should not change the meaning of the sentence. That is, the meaning of the sentence should remain the same even if we use the word not, never, neither, nor, etc. in it. Example, Ram is a good boy. Now, how do we change this affirmative sentence into a negative sentence? What we have to do is, we just have to use the opposite word of good and change the word and change the sentence into a negative sentence. See, Ram is not a bad boy. It means Ram is a good boy. Next, he will always remember you. We will just use the opposite of always and we will just use the opposite of remember to change this affirmative sentence into a negative sentence. He will never forget you. That means he will always remember you. Third one, she was happy. We will just use the opposite of the word happy. She was not sad. That means she was happy. We move on to interrogative sentence. A sentence that asks a question is called an interrogative sentence. Example, is there more tea? Have you done your homework? Or what is your name? Where do you live? Etc. All these are interrogative sentences. Always remember, an interrogative sentence always has a mark of interrogation, that is question mark at the end of the sentence. There are four kinds of questions. First, yes or no questions, WH questions, tag questions, and choice questions. What is a yes-no question? A yes or a no question can be answered in yes or no. That is, if somebody asks you, were you absent yesterday? Your answer should be, yes, I was absent yesterday, or no, I was not absent yesterday. WH question. A WH question begins with a question word like when, who, why, where, whom, etc. Example, where are you going tonight? Whom did you meet there? Now we come to tag questions. Tag questions are used for confirmation of what is said in the statement. A positive sentence takes a negative tag and a negative sentence takes a positive tag. Look at the example. It's not raining. This is a negative sentence, so we will be using a positive tag. So here we have used a positive tag, that is it? So it's not raining, is it? Next example, she walks to school. This is a positive sentence, so the tag which we will use should be a negative tag. So here also we have used a negative tag. She walks to school, doesn't she? Last we move on to choice questions. Choice questions provides a choice. The answer to the choice questions is in the question itself. Example, would you like to go to Shimla or Kashmir? So your answer should either be Shimla or Kashmir. Would you like to have pizza or burger? Your answer should be either pizza or burger. Now we move on to imperative sentence. Now what is an imperative sentence? A sentence that expresses a command, a request, an advice or desire is called an imperative sentence. For example, download some information about Shakespeare from the internet. Here I am commanding or ordering to download information about Shakespeare. In the second sentence we see, tell me something about coronavirus please. Here I am requesting someone to tell me about the coronavirus. Next, you must exercise every day to keep fit. Here I am giving an advice that we should exercise every day. Next, I wish I would go abroad for my higher studies. Here I am expressing my desire to go abroad for my higher studies. Please note, an imperative sentence always ends with a full stop. Next we move on to exclamatory sentence. A sentence that expresses some strong or sudden feeling of joy, fear is called an exclamatory sentence. Example, how melodiously Lata Mangeshkar sings, or what a lovely flower. Please note, we always put an exclamation mark at the end of an exclamatory sentence. Now we move on to kinds of sentences according to structure. According to structure, sentences can be classified into three kinds. Number 1, simple sentences. Number 2, compound sentences. Number 3, complex sentences. Number 1, simple sentences. A simple sentence has only one clause. It has one subject and one predicate, and it conveys a complete sense. Let us see the example. I know his name. Here, I acts as a subject and know his name acts as a predicate. Second example, you must work hard to succeed. Here, you acts as a subject and must work hard to succeed acts as a predicate. Now we move on to compound sentences. A compound sentence has two independent clauses which are joined by a coordinating conjunction like for, and, nor, but, yet, or so. Let us see the example first. He is wealthy. He is unhappy. He is wealthy is an independent clause, and he is unhappy is another independent clause. These two clauses are joined by a coordinating conjunction but. So, he is wealthy but he is unhappy. Next example, he had an attack of fever. He could not come. Here, he had an attack of fever is an independent clause, and he could not come is another independent clause. These two independent clauses are joined by a coordinating conjunction, so turning it into a compound sentence. He had an attack of fever, so he could not come. Move on to complex sentences. A complex sentence has an independent clause and a dependent clause. These two clauses are joined by subordinating conjunctions such as because, that, when, until, though, although, while, etc. Let us see the example. He could not come. This is an independent clause. He was ill. This is a dependent clause. These two clauses are joined by the word because, which is a subordinating conjunction. So, he could not come because he was ill. Next sentence, they rested. They rested is an independent clause, whereas evening came is a dependent clause. These two clauses are joined by a subordinating conjunction when. They rested when evening came. With this, we complete the chapter. Thank you for watching this video, and always remember, the longer we stay indoor, the faster we come out of this pandemic situation. So be home and be safe. Thank you.